First of all, a huge shout out to KingSong for sending me the N14 to review. It is linked below, by the way, and there is a nice discount code there. But before you even go and make a decision, let me explain everything about this scooter. Okay, this is our hill test. First hill test on the N14 by KingSong. We have a 500 watt motor with a 900 watt peak. So can it get up this hill? Can it really? Because a lot of single motor scooters I've had have struggled to get up this hill. And yep, we're climbing 28, 29 kilometers an hour. Not slowing down, it's still going. Sport mode, full charge. Yes, very nice to see. No problems at all getting up something like that. This scooter is packed full of features. I mean full of features. So this video is going to be a bit more long than the average video that I do. But I am going to be explaining everything in it. From the battery, to the speed, to the suspension on this, to the tires, to a few really nice features that you don't see on a lot of scooters, particularly at this price point. So on the N14 you have four modes actually. So you have pedestrian, where the scooter assists you if you're in a pedestrian area, so you don't have to push the scooter. And you also have eco drive, sport mode, which is what I'm on. One thing that I immediately noticed on standing on the N14, I'm gonna obviously tell you where you can buy this scooter as well, because they are only newly released. So please stick with me. At the end of the video I'm gonna give you something, a really nice discount code basically. The handlebars on it are really wide. They are so generous in width and very comfortable. It's also really, well, I wouldn't say it's high off the ground, but because the handlebars are nice and wide, they have that stability there. It's a really nice height, so it should suit most riders, even if you are small or taller. I'm 5'8", so again, no issues there. Maneuverability, it does have 10-inch pneumatic tires, a tire that I've never tried before, but really nice. It also has front suspension and it has underneath rear suspension. And I have to show you as well later in the video, the stem on this scooter is something that I've never ever seen before, and I gotta say it's probably going to be my most favorite stem locking design. And of course the deck on this scooter, you can't really see it on camera, but I mean the deck is absolutely gigantic. So if you have really large feet, you would be quite comfortable on this. So for long distances, particularly if you need to go, let's say 30-40 kilometers a day, you should be relatively comfortable on it. The display is something I've never ever seen before on a scooter. KingSong are unique. They're not like a lot of electric scooter manufacturers where they follow the typical generic standard design. Let's talk about the brakes actually. Okay, so you have a front drum brake on this. Let me test it. Brilliant. You also have a rear mechanical disc braking, but on top of that, you do have indeed regenerative braking. Now you can set all these in the KingSong app. So this scooter is so customizable, you'll be so happy with it. So full stopping on something like this, so I'm going 40 kilometers an hour right now. Let's do full stop. Really nice. And I do have the regen braking on this to 80%. You can also change the acceleration power on this as well, but don't worry, I'm gonna show you all that in the video. But first impressions of the ride on this, absolutely really happy. No complaints at all about it. And the scooter is not heavy at all. But the suspension, one thing I like about the suspension on this is actually, it's not noisy at all. There's literally zero noise coming from the suspension on this. Or the scooter in general. The way it's designed is definitely up there compared to some scooters like Kieran scooters are okay for value, but a lot of the time they do kind of lack in quality in certain builds of their scooters. It is much better in that regard. You would have actually quite a good bit of fun on this scooter. And it has lights as well. It has a front light, a rear light, under lights. Again, customizable, that I'll show you. Has a finger bell here. Again, let's do another brake test, going top speed. Yeah, the regen braking on this is actually really grippy. Normally I don't like regen braking on cheaper scooters, but on this here, because it is from KingSong, who have a really good reputation with electric unicycles, I am very confident in actually using it on something like this. So yeah, I really do like that. Again, going up tight spaces like this, because the scooter is light, it is extremely nimble. It's definitely a really good city commuter scooter going in and out of traffic. Tires give absolutely fantastic grip. We're on a bumpy area here, so let's see what a handle's like. Yep, bumps are actually fine. It absorbs it very well. You could go off a few curbs with this as well, because it's not too low to the ground. So of course don't go crazy, but you still have a nice comfort level there. More bumpy ground here. Yeah, it's absorbing it, no problem at all. Another bump here, boom. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I really like that. You can just bounce up and down on the scooter. Really nice. More bumps here. Yeah, no complaints at all with the suspension on the KingSong N14. So enough riding the N14. Let's break it down, tell you the pros and cons of this electric scooter. I'll show you the app. I'm going to explain everything, don't worry. Let's go. Sometimes bigger scooters are faster, bigger batteries, but of course they're so heavy. But on the N14, I mean, how nice is this? You have a really strong point here, which is good as well if you need to lock this outside with like a kryptonite lock, for example. But not only that, you can just lift it. And this is extremely light for me personally. And that's what you want. If you're on and off public transport, this is the type of scooter that you need. And there's a close look at actually the suspension underneath. Okay, so this is the KingSong N14 app. It is pretty basic. On the left hand side you can see the percentage of the battery, and on the right you can see the temperature of the overall scooter. And on the bottom you can see horn, lock, night light, power off, and you can set a vehicle password if you want to lock the scooter so it can't be moved. If you swipe to the left, you can also see a few different information. You have motor temperature, mainboard temperature on the bottom, current, runtime, overall mileage, total mileage, single mileage, and then of course you have your battery life and remaining mileage at the very top. Again, swiping to the left, I've only used the scooter a couple of times, but normally if you've used it a good few times you will start to see charts displaying of speed, consumption, and also the energy consumption. I will do this on a follow-up video with more details. So if you do want to start to change a few settings, you click on the top right hand corner. You have device information, you have firmware information, battery capacity, warranty, plus you also have a built-in diagnostics feature that basically if anything's wrong with the scooter, it's easier to pinpoint what the issue is. Like I said, you can set a vehicle password to prevent theft. You can also set the off time adjustment from 10 minutes up to like 240 minutes. If you need to update the scooter, you just go into this area here and it updates. You also have lighting control, where you have different options if you want to change the underglow lights of the scooter, which is really nice to see and completely customizable. You also have the gear adjustment, so you can set the speed to wherever you want on gear 1, 2 and 3. This scooter is fully unlocked, so that's why they are still displaying 20 kilometers an hour, which is for most EU countries. But if you need to fully unlock the scooter, you will need to contact KingSong. It is pretty straightforward. You can also enable or disable the cruise control to kick in after a few seconds. If you want as well, instead of having 0 start, you can simply have a sliding start. So if you select, let's say 2, 3, 4 kilometers, Then you can press the accelerator for basically a kickstart mode. I have it on 0 start, which is what I prefer. You also have the regen braking, which you can change. I actually have it now set to 50, which I find probably the best setting. And then you also have the power of the initial torque of the scooter when you use the accelerator. I have it at 80%. Overall, the app is quite good. It's built well compared to some other apps that I've seen on electric scooters. So it's definitely one of the top selling points of the KingSong N14. Okay, so the specs of this scooter is as follows. You have a 500 watt motor in the rear. That is a peak output of 900 watts. So it climbs hills generally no issues once they're not too crazy. So you have really good power there. You have a 48 volt 10 amp hour battery that is capable of a range of up to 60 kilometers, which is of course quite generous. It does have indeed 10-inch pneumatic tires on this. And of course, one of the really good things about this, it has 3 types of braking. So what you have on the N14 model is you have a drum brake at the front, you have rear mechanical braking, you also have a regen braking that you can completely customize on this N14. Not only that, with this model, you get indicators that have a really nice non-cheap feel. Left, it also beeps as well to let you know that it's on, because on some electric scooters it doesn't tell you if the indicators are on and off, and your indicators could be flashing for literally no reason. And it's really integrated very well. Very big grips. Of course you have an indicator on your right as well. Really big grips, very comfortable. And KingSong as well, very unique in their design. They have this really cool looking, of course that's not on any other scooter, that's kind of just the way they design things. Handlebars, very wide handlebars, quite generous in height as well. So if you're a taller rider, the scooter would be actually quite comfortable. You of course have a standard finger bell here, which is probably my favorite and most easiest to use. Very simple controls. To turn it on, you just hold down this button, the display lights up. You of course have my favorite thumb throttle here, so very comfortable up on top and very unique. Deck size quite large, very comfortable for no matter what size feet you have, which is nice to see, because on a lot of cheaper scooters the deck is quite small and uncomfortable. Integrated as well in the back where it hooks on is this part here. Doesn't give any rattling as well, so you hook it on there and you lift the scooter, which is very easy. Of course, rubber deck here, extremely easy to clean. Stem itself is actually really well done here, very strong, really good position to actually lock the scooter if you have no choice but to lock it outside. And of course, underneath the KingSong, which is what they're kind of known for, is their lights. You have these lights underneath, completely customizable in the app. You also have a rear light as well in the back, and you have that KingSong, because some countries basically need to have a red plate, so you already have a position for that. And of course you have a light at the front. From a visibility standpoint, yeah, this scooter is really nice. Now let me show you something very cool. Now I have reviewed so many electric scooters, and at this point I've seen pretty much most folding mechanisms. Some of them I really like, some of them I don't like, but this is a first for me. And this is, I would love to see this on more electric scooters, so take a look. You have 3 points of safety on this. To fold the electric scooter, you have to of course push in this pin, which is on a lot of folding mechanism nowadays. And then of course you put down the latch, so that's the second step. Normally at this point the handlebars collapse into themselves to enable you to lift the scooter. But take a look at this, the handlebars don't go anywhere. But what you have to do is you have to push down again on the latch a small bit, because it is spring loaded. That comes off, then it folds. So you have 3 points. 1, 2, and then of course you have this part here we have to push in with your finger. And this is rock solid. I mean, I'm so happy to see that, because a lot of the ones are like, yeah, I've seen it before, yeah, it's standard, it's generic. This is very unique, and I'm very happy KingSong have adopted this type of folding mechanism, which gives you peace of mind on the strength. And by the way, the stem on this is very, very chunky. It's not cheaply made at all. And what can I say? From a safety standpoint, it's literally everything you could want. Okay, so let's talk about the M14 briefly again. Top speed 40 kilometers per hour, range of up to 60 kilometers. An app that is completely customizable. It's a safety app as well because it tells you the temperature of the board, the motors and everything else in between. It also has that diagnostics feature, which is really good. A lot of apps on some electric scooters don't really serve a purpose and can sometimes cause you a bit of trouble with the electric scooter. But on this, I have no doubt that it will do its job very, very well. That's really nice to see, and I think it's one of the best selling points of the KingSong N14. You have those 10-inch pneumatic tyres, you have mud guards front and rear, a really large deck that is very, very comfortable, fantastic folding mechanisms, front light, rear light, under glow lights, safety standpoint, absolutely brilliant. You have the regen brake in there, very nice to see, extremely stable, nice high up, very wide handlebars, a very comfortable scooter, and the suspension does a fantastic job on reasonable bumps. It's not an off-road scooter obviously, but they definitely do the job. To be honest, it's more than acceptable. It's for a typical person who needs to get to A to B. It's also IP54 rated, so it's okay in light rain. No issues there. I think it has the kilometers that you need. You'd probably get around, if you were going fast as possible, you would probably get around the 30 km/h max distance. Of course, if you are going slower, you would get up to maybe 40, 50 km/h distance on a full charge on the battery on this. It's of course an off-road scooter. You can't do anything crazy with it. It's literally to get you to and from your destination with a few hills in between. It's kind of like we're in that kind of nice area where it's suitable kind of for pretty much anybody. But let's talk about the value. The price of this is actually really good at the moment because you get all those features with the decent suspension, the speed, everything else, safety features integrated. The price is an absolute bargain. I'm surprised when I did see the price of the M14, and after reviewing it, I'm surprised that it actually wasn't much more expensive. So I gotta say, it's one of those scooters that I think you could definitely have long term, and it has all those safety features there, so it gives you peace of mind. It's a no-brainer, to be honest, to buy something like this. It will definitely get you to where you need to be, and very safely as well. If you have enjoyed this video, give it a like. By the way, this is linked below with that 5% discount if you want to go and purchase this. It does help the channel as well, so it's entirely up to you. In the meantime, stay safe, and I'll talk to you in the next video.